Morning, folks. Today's Saturday, for October 2025. Happy Saturday. Thankfully, we're getting a little break from the tropics today, but not for long, I don't think. We have what's left of Imelda up here. We have our potential tropical system developing out here in the Atlantic, and we have, a 10% chance development from this system out here, which I wouldn't be surprised if National Hurricane Center drops that. I really don't think it has a chance to do much of anything. Um, Although it's going to be quite unsettled out in this area because of remnant frontal boundary, and you see the higher, colder cloud tops here, especially in this area. Uh, you know, just unsettled in general. Okay, but this system out here has a 50% chance of development now, and this one has a 10%. All right. Um, if we switch to the water vapor, uh, on the previous infrared, you could see like a general large envelope, circulation envelope here with this system. Quite robust coming off the coast of Africa this time of year. Usually in October, we don't see too much activity out here in the Atlantic. And although it looks robust, it doesn't look like it'll really do much until it reaches generally in this area here, right? Okay. And so they have a general like high pressure here, which is going to take this generally this way, right? And we have um, looks like a mid upper level low out here, right? And we have just different like a mid level feature here, and we have some dry air still in the central Gulf, but moisture's starting to push back up, at least at the upper levels here. All right. Um, but the upper level winds are unfavorable, really, um, for development out here, like off the coast of Florida, at least right now. Um, Moving back to mid level water vapor, you see what I'm talking about here. There's a lot of dry air right in here, and the winds are just like screaming out of this direction. And we have a lot of dry air in here as well. Looks like we have maybe a little high pressure cell trying to build in here with maybe a weak low developing at the surface here, but not likely to develop anything significant. So let's go on to the National Hurricane Center outlook. I had it pulled up, but for some reason I lost it here. This there's your tropical disturbance out here, coast of Africa, 50% chance of development in 7 days. And this disturbance off the coast of Florida, 10% chance of development through the next 7 days. And I think in the longer term, we got the potential for something to spin up in this area here, like past a 7 day period. All right. And this is one way to look at it, right? This is a little explanation here. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. Allergies are getting me. Um, this is the European Ensemble uh, attempt at showing where tropical cyclone genesis will occur, okay, including strike probability, right? But just look at this as the different probabilities here of developing. So This is initialized today. Well, initialized today starts on the 7th, right? So beginning on the 7th, it's 3 days from now. So you see the probabilities here off the coast of Africa, 40, 50%. Some bullseyes out here in the East Pacific. A little bit of probabilities here off the coast of Florida, South America, on just into the Western Caribbean Sea and extreme Southern Gulf. These probabilities move further east with that system. See the low probabilities here off the Florida coast. Still this bullseye east and eastern Pacific. All right. Probabilities for the system moves further east. You can see where these probabilities are here in the Gulf. They kind of remain here. And I don't know about this one off South America. There's always something there, but it's always showing some probability. That most of the time, there's nothing. But um, so generally, and this is probably part of what National Hurricane Center is basing their probabilities on, reaches 50, 60% right here. Okay. And you see the probabilities increase in the Gulf and off the coast of Africa again, which I don't know about, but probabilities again off the South American coast. And it looks like to me that we might have a disturbance moving in this general direction, either here, and we have the other one here, or one off the coast of Africa. And this is the 14 October, okay? Probabilities 30, 40% off um, in the Eastern Pacific, generally moving to the northwest in the Caribbean Sea here, near the Yucatan Peninsula, and just general other area, low probability areas here. And you can see further out. This is 12 days out, so we can kind of take this with a grain of salt. But generally speaking, this is what the probabilities are. You can see how spread out the stuff is now. So the model resolution at this temporal stage, which means at the end of this model run, right, is pretty low. But we have to keep in mind the climatology for these areas. These are favorite areas for this time of year for development. Likely Central American gyre getting going here, possible circulation spinning up, vorticity, and maybe spinning up something that might go out this way or this way. Just depending on the overall flow pattern in the continental U.S. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to show you that. So moving on to the ensembles, right? This is the Google DeepMind. This is the 10th, so we move back a little bit to the 6th here, starting off on the 6th. Let's go a bit further because there's not a lot. You have your system out here. The Google DeepMind has two different. This is Google DeepMind's newest ensemble probabilistic machine learning weather model. Okay, so it wants to develop this system that's coming off the coast of Africa. This is the 10th, right? And most of these, each one of these represents a member of the RON ensemble member. And, this far out, 6 to 7 days out, and we learned this lesson from the last hurricane, Imelda, right? Until we get a circulation, low level circulation develop, the models are going to struggle where it's going to go. Okay. So, really, the forecast this far out on tracks is, you know, you can see the model certainty here, right? And you move it further out and how much it spreads out. So, that'll give you an idea about it, right? I think what we do know is we'll probably get a tropical disturbance, and once we get a low develop, the models have a better handle on it. Okay, so we have plenty of time to watch this. Let's go as far out as this goes and look in the Gulf of Mexico, see if we see anything. Okay, and this is 17th, 18th. Not a lot there, but it's really too far out. Just wanted to show you that. Now, if we go, this is another the Google DeepMind GenCast artificial intelligence model. It's not nearly as bullish with this out here. I really don't know how many members this has, so I have to look into it some more. All right, but to me, it doesn't look very bullish on it at all. Okay. Uh, European ensembles, quite a few members here. There's 51 members, right? Some want to hit the Caribbean islands. Some want to curve to the north here. We go out as far as this goes. A lot of spread. That stuff's all over the place. All right. GFS, roughly the same thing. This is the 8th, 4 days from now. GFS tends to overdo stuff in the Caribbean, but um, you know, not much, not much support for anything off the Florida coast or in the Gulf of Mexico in the short term, anyway. So moving on to the operational runs, European. Let's go through this real quick. This is see if I have a more recent run. Okay, October 4th. This is starting on the 6th. Okay, you have the system down here, stuff off the just general unsettled weather off the southeast coast, unsettled in the Gulf, and the operational run. We get to the 12th of October, and which has been the case a lot this year. It doesn't really spin up even a week low until it starts to curve. Okay, go further out with this. That's it, right? So take that from what you will. It's pretty far out, but uh, I wouldn't take this as a gospel, right? Just be mindful of it. And I'm showing you all the models, so y'all have enough information here. And this is the European AI, right? This is your disturbance here. Some general unsettled weather here in the Gulf, Caribbean, not Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, off the southeast coast. All right. You see disturbed weather. It wants to develop some stuff and move it right out to sea here on the south mid-Atlantic coast. It really doesn't develop much of anything as far as a tropical system goes, right? So lots of uncertainty still. GFS, this is as of the 9th of October. You see a low pressure 1.5, arguably a Cat 1 hurricane off the Western Antilles here. 979 would support that. Wants to really intensify it here, move it to the north out to sea. And it wants to spin up on some other disturbances. off the mid-Atlantic coast. And the Central American gyre gets going here. You see that we were talking about there. And then once it developed two systems off there, which I think is kind of unlikely, is getting really far out, 20th of October. So don't say Tim Ealer told you something's going to develop out here, because I didn't say that. I'm just showing you all the options here. All right. What is a Canadian model show? This is moving forward here. Have our system. It wants to develop a tropical depression or storm pretty quickly here and move it north of the Caribbean islands, move it out to sea. You see a general circulation building here in the Central American gyre again. It's just a low pressure, a large low pressure develops this time of year sometimes as a result of trade winds moving this way and this way, and creates a broad spin there. So moving on to the icon, which is another model we look at. There's a disturbance here. And this highlights that most models won't develop anything off the southeast coast of note, right? Just instead of weather. Maybe the icon is trying to do something here with the low, maybe move it to the south, and maybe spin up a non-tropical low off the coast here. But you see what it wants to do with this one here, make it arguably a Cat 4 hurricane north of the Lesser Antilles, October 11th. So you see the variability in the models. Again, until we get a low pressure developing and the models get a better handle on the overall conditions this far out, there's no certainty beyond 5 to 7 days, and we have plenty of time to watch this. So. All right, as we move to the continental U.S. here, we have some really dry air still at the mid levels, with a good portion here, right? We have some enhanced moisture, kind of what looks like a high pressure building in generally, kind of here, just in response to some mid-level or features here. But in general, we have some low-level air moving this way, which this is overrunning some of that. All right, and so these high clouds here. When we overlay this with the radar, you don't see really any activity. The low-level flow is more off of the coast here and down the Appalachians, right? You can see the general flow here, all right? And this flow moving up this way, generally, right? Okay. So moving back to the water vapor, see what I'm talking about here? Long wave infrared. See where the most activity is in our Mountain West, Rockies, and the upper Midwest. Well, no, the northern high plains, Northwest. Okay. If we look at the upper level water vapor, we see kind of what's going on here as well. Looks like a upper level feature moving through the flow here, general flow this way. And again, maybe a short wave or two digging through the flow here, right? And we have, in response, we have some enhanced flow this way. Same thing here with a really weak low out here off the coast. Northeast remains dry. All right, so let's see. Moving on to the the radar here. This is the national radar. Pulled up the wrong thing. Sorry about that. You can see we showed that before on the satellite picture, and here's your tropical development areas potentially. rain just off the Gulf Coast here, and enhanced moisture coming right on to the southeast coast and parts of Florida, the Bahamas, and other areas getting into it, right? And we have the most activity here, like I showed you before, in the Intermountain West, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Montana, Idaho, and up into north of Minnesota into Canada. So, related to this, what is the excessive rainfall outlook for the coming days? All right, let's look at day one. Marginal risk off the Florida coast, off the southeast coast here, excessive rainfall. Again, here you can see where the most activity is with the radar right here into New Orleans, right? Just in Louisiana and into the Intermountain West. All right. This is likely through 12Z today, and this will be updated. Right. This will be updated um, around 8 a.m. Eastern. This is likely for the rest of the day today. Still pretty much the same areas. Uh, Although the area shrinks a little bit off the southeast and Florida coast, still in parts of the Florida Panhandle, Mississippi, Louisiana, and the central U.S. for day three, which is tomorrow. Same bullseye here in the middle part of the country and off the Florida coast again. Man, they just can't get a break there. Thankfully, after that, Monday, the threat goes back to the desert southwest, marginal risk of excessive rainfall, and moves into the Ohio Valley, um, Mississippi Valley here. And then Day 5, there's nothing highlighted right now. So I don't know whether that's an error or not, but it's 5 days out. So, or actually 4, that'd be Tuesday, but we can look at that again tomorrow. As far as severe weather goes, let's take a look. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm not shying for any particular reason, just making sure I keep this going here. Large marginal risk up here in South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, North Dakota, like I said, um, mostly due to wind and hail risk, below 2% tornado risk, okay, for today. Tomorrow, very small bullseye here in the Kansas, parts of Nebraska, marginal risk severe weather with general thunderstorms in these other areas here, likely due to wind and hail risk. All right, very small area here. And day 3, general thunderstorms returning to the southeast, like as of yesterday, right? And then a large area here in the Ohio Valley, down the desert southwest, New Mexico, Arizona, Kansas, parts of Iowa. All right. So, what's the model radar going to look like? Take this off. Take this off. Model radar. I don't want the temperature. Okay. um, Composite reflectivity. All right. So, this is just modeled reflectivity. See if I can get the latest. Anyway, let's take a look what it does here. Gotta slow it down a little bit here. This is as of the 3rd at 2000, right? The 4th at 0500. This is plus 12 hours, right? See where the most precip is off into the Intermountain West, right along the Gulf Coast, off the southeast coast. This area moves further to the east. This area is still there, right? And then the southeast kind of gets into the mix some with some general thunderstorms, moisture returning a little bit here, and what appears to be like go back. That's the 19th. Okay. A cold front clearing the area. If we go further in time here, right? And this is way far out, the 15th. This is 11 days from now. But what you generally get from this is a cold front maybe pushing through the area here eventually. You kind of get that overall flow, right? It looks like one system moves through. And then, and this is just modeled, right? So take from it what you will. This is pretty far out. But I wanted to show you that. This is another way to look at it. A little more of a short-term look. All right, from the NAM, North American model. See where the most precip is and rainfall. Southeast Gulf of Mexico, southeast coast. See the high pressure I was talking about at the surface here and the wind flow around it, right? Going through time with it. Generally speaking, that flow stays like it is for the next 60 hours. Okay, and you see where the most moisture is, and this high is just holding on tight right here, keeping it really dry up here. All right. Um, what are the current hazards? We have winter weather advisories up here, winter storm warnings. Wow, okay. And red flag warnings for the middle part of the country, the plains. Wind advisories for parts of the Intermountain West. And it's like freeze warnings for these areas. And dark purple, more wind advisories, all kind of different freeze watches. It's quite cold out here. So um, better get your jackets on. And off the Florida coast, we have a flood watch as well. Next, I'm going to go over the excessive rainfall outlook, and which I already did, but I'm going to go over the total precip amounts expected over the next 5 days, and then go over the temperatures forecast, and that'll be the end of my video. All right. I realize my video is getting pretty long here, so I'm going to make this quick. Just wanted to show you the mid-level flow real quick and what's driving um, our weather. Okay, you have a low off the mid-level, upper level low moving on shore here, and that high pressure at the mid levels with a high pressure at the surface or up in here, and that flow generally moves to the northeast, right? And what we're going to see is this trough gonna dig again. Excuse me, but the high pressure stays in control, at least in the eastern U.S. And then the flow kind of broadens out, really long fetch um, of north to south flow here. We get some return moisture maybe off the Gulf of Mexico here. But what this tells me for severe weather chances here is not a lot, because the Gulf of Mexico is probably not going to be open for business for the Midwest anyway. We look at the Pivotal weather, 850 millibars. You see generally the surface high stays in control here, at least at the surface, with the enhanced flow still off the eastern seaboard here. So what are the precip chances totals through Tuesday? The most precip totals, right? Well, it just shows precip totals. Off the Florida coast here, off the 3-4 inches expected. And these are, guys, this is where the marginal risks of excessive rainfall are through the next week. So you can see where the oranges and reds are with the most precips expected. All right, so now temps. See where the warmest temps are. This is, you know, October 4th today, which is some 90s for a good portion of the country here, like right up here in the Midwest. The plains. Excuse me, my throat's really not doing good today. These are the highs, right? So I'm going to go through this. This thing don't tend to work sometimes, so I have to get it started. You see the high temps cool off quite a bit as the system moves to the. You get maybe a wedge, build them back in again here, and this is next Friday. Quite nice for most of the country, except in for Texas and the deep south. Like I said, it looks like maybe a wedge. Cold air damping sets up here. And if we go to minimum temps, we go back on the slider here. Nice. It's nice again today here, right? And then it starts to warm up with enhanced moisture, right? But you can see where the delineation of the coldest temps are. It's 20s and teens in the mountains here. And the cold temps move further south, right? And back 40s, 30s up here in the Northeast. It's gonna be chilly. Better get your parkas out, right? Anyway, I mean, it's that time of year where we're gonna get fronts coming through and cooler temps and stuff. So enjoy it. You'll have a great weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow.